Pass back to Gerry, who plays a Glacial Fortress and passes back, and Trevor's got a colonnade of his own on his side of the board, so it's just been a lot of draw go, really, besides that preordained from Trevor. Both players with access to all the colors they need, which is 2, but you know, both players with access to both colored mana, both players with a Celestial Colonnade. Trevor adds a Tectonic Edge to the board and preordains, a second preordain.
Mana leak from Gerry Thompson to stop that.
So,
another land, Tectonic Edge number 2.
Yeah, 2 Tectonic Edges for Trevor. Not a lot happening right now, but there's an Emiria Angel, so Gerry has his
tapping out.
Yeah, test spell here.
And Trevor only has 3 mana leaks to stop that from happening. He does have Dismember. But Gerry is definitely the kind of person to usually wait for that ability. So he gets the 1/1 out of it, even though the Dismember comes out to take care of it. Now, since they don't have each other's deck lists, Trevor will most likely be expecting some number of swords, unless he knows that Gerry has decided to go without.
Which is a possibility because of, if he read Gerry's article this past week, Gerry didn't actually say outright, but that he wasn't going to include the swords, but he did kind of poo-poo them a little bit. So it might not be too much of a shock. Trevor tech edges Gerry's Celestial Colonnade. And Gerry's token is replaced by an actual bird. Oh, I'm sorry, not an actual bird. It's still a bird token.
Right.
There's no actual bird on the board. Although that would be quite interesting.
Sword of Feast and Famine with 2 mana back. In comes the little bird that was created by an angel.
Yeah. The faux hawk.
I like that. Faux hawk.
It's a faux
high
five. Booth high fives. You gotta love them.
Into the Royal with kicker. Untap.
You wonder after rotation if there's going to be some version of Call Blade that doesn't have Squadron Hawks in it, because they rotate, and you can call that deck Faux Hawks. Instead, there's some other sort of flying creature that's holding swords.
Seachrome Coast from Gerry. At end of turn, Trevor knocks out one of Gerry's land, taking out a Seachrome Coast. And Trevor lays a 6th land.
And Sword of Feast and Famine.
I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah. It's
mana leak to tap him out. Spell Pierce coming back, leaving 2 mana up for Trevor. Gerry lets the Counterspell War end there.
So, Gerry, though, doing fine here. The sword isn't so threatening when it's just lying there on the battlefield.
Right.
With nothing to wield it. Gerry, though, is a little bit mana screwed. I mean, not necessarily. He's only on 4 lands to Trevor's 6, but that's relevant in this mirror, you know? You don't want to be...
Jace Bellerin.
Yeah, you don't want to be the one who's down several lands to your opponent. And Trevor cracks a Scalding Tarn, which probably indicates a mana leak. Now, Gerry may have a Spell Pierce.
That would be an awesome turn sequence for him.
Gerry does not have Spell Pierce in the deck.
Yeah, he only has the ability to fake a Spell Pierce.
Yeah.
And that stops. Gerry's got the 1 mana open. Trevor, if he were to drop down a 6-drop, would be pretty rough. There's a 6. That's
Speak
a
of the devil, yeah. Consecrated Mosquito.
Untap, draw. Double draw for Trevor. Oblivion Ring would be handy right now. 1/2 mana. Phantasmal Image.
Phantasmal Image of the Sphinx. That's what it looks like.
Image. Attack for 1. Trevor will probably say take it.
Yeah, because of Dismember. Block my little faux hawk. I dare you. And there's a real hawk from Gerry, so Squadron Hawk.
I'm going to say that this next turn, if I were Trevor, I would push into a massive card drawing war, and if I were Gerry, I would just barely fill up and then stop.
Yeah, it's the fact that Gerry has 6 lands in play and likely to be 7. He can make use of those extra cards a lot better than Gerry can, who's 2 lands down, you know? Who is likely to be 2 lands down.
Well, just this fact that the turn itself, having only 1 mana open now is the critical turn for the Consecrated Sphinx War.
So here they go back and forth. Both players drawing a ton of cards. It looks like 8 cards in Trevor's hand.
Draw, 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 draw,
Yeah.
draw.
Can't quite see. I believe Gerry's got about 10 or 11 cards in hand now. It's hard to tell. He's in the shadows there.
Come on up to the main event stage, grab your food.
Yeah, we have a Sphinx War happening here. This isn't even a draw go. This is draw draw draw.
Draw, 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 go.
Both players just back and forth drawing the cards. It's not.
I think for Trevor, it makes sense. I think for Gerry, Gerry is making a terrible mistake continuing onwards in this way.
How
And
come?
The big reason being this: Gerry only has 1 mana to work with right now, and what Trevor can very easily do is just turn off where Gerry's at right now on the table, have mana open, and Gerry only has a little bit of mana to work with on the following turn.
What do you mean by turn off what Gerry has on the table?
Well,
Like,
Gerry only has 6 mana that he'll be able to work with next turn. And with Trevor having access to mana leaks and spell pierces, and already having a presence on the board, it's very reasonable for Trevor to either bounce or Oblivion Ring that actually doesn't even have to do anything other than target it, so he can even just into the Royal It to kill it, that phantasmal image, and then have dominance on the board and just be able to shut off whatever Gerry does. The usual thing that happens in a Consecrated Sphinx War is whoever is the untapped person has the advantage.
yeah, definitely. That makes sense. You gotta wonder, is Gerry looking for something? You know what I mean? Is it?
I mean, looking at Gerry's list, even if he sculpts the perfect hand, it will take all of his effort with that so-called perfect hand just to deal with the Sphinx in play. I mean, I kind of wonder how much experience either of these players have with being in Consecrated Sphinx Wars.
You gotta say, Gerry would have experience with it. I mean, he's been playing Sphinx for a little while, right?
Okay.
So,
I don't
Gideon.
think Trevor has any experience playing with it because Gideon, as awesome as Gideon is not great when your opponent has filled their hand full of cards. I mean, basically, it's very
You think he
possible
should have just sat there
that
with a bunch of untapped mana? Or?
he should have basically taken that phantasmal image off the table somehow with something, and then after taking it off the table, leave himself open with lots of possibilities for counter magic, because then Gerry is going to be shut down by a board advantage.
Right.
Whereas a Gideon, there are so many answers to Gideon, and now he's equipped, and all Gerry has to do is just block. He's got a Squadron Hawk right there.
He's gonna untap here though. If well, yeah, you're right.
He's got a Squadron Hawk. He just has to block.
Yeah, sorry, I was like a step behind you there.
It also would have been totally reasonable for him to get those creatures out of the way, then equip and attack, and then be untapped with the Sword of Feast and Famine.
Right.
But yeah, this sequence, he suddenly put himself where the position where he was, which is the guy with untapped mana and the Consecrated Sphinx, has now been reversed. And now instead, he's the guy that's going to be tapped out, and Gerry will be the untapped guy with Consecrated Sphinx.
Right. Trevor moving to his end step here, discarding. Playing Jin Gitaxias in Reanimator in Legacy. I feel like I'm in these situations a lot where I'm like, I have all these cards. Hold on a sec while I sculpt my hand, while I figure out what I want to keep. Nice shot.
Okay.
Do it again.
So now Gerry with a hand that is larger than many people's decks.
All right, Sphinx 4 again.
And now Gerry should be willing to just not go very far with it and just stop.
Right, look at them fanning out their decks. Like, Jerry's got his deck fanned out so he sees how many cards are left.
I have that backwards. Gerry should be willing to push forward pretty far because he's got the mana advantage at this point.
I see.
My
Okay,
bad.
that's
I
what
need
I
to say it
thought
correctly.
you were going to say, but I
Yeah,
was
I said
kinda
it back- I
surprised
said
you
it
the other
backwards.
way around.
Now,
Gerry should have a land drop this turn.
yeah. Now Gerry only
Unless
has
this is the worst ever variance.
Gerry only has one Into the Royal in his deck. He's already used it, which means his ways to handle the table are his 3 Oblivion Rings and 2 Day of Judgments.
So, Glacial Fortress.
And let's see what the first play is going to be. I bet there's going to be an Oblivion Ring involved.
Yeah, there they are.
Oblivion Ring times 2, tapping out.
So he hits Gideon and Consecrated Sphinx.
And he comes in for 5. Maybe. He's thinking about it.
Just checking out what exactly did you put in the graveyard?
Five damage. Now, the one distinction between the situations before, Gerry is going to be going up against an opponent who's going to have 8 mana, whereas Trevor was going to be going up against an opponent with 6 mana. So Gerry does not have the luxury of sitting behind his mana leaks.
Right.
Whereas Trevor actually did have that luxury.
Very good point. Trevor on 5 life. He's got a ton of cards. No Sphinx in play for Trevor, though, so he won't be able to... well, he does have what looks to be a Phantasmal Image in his hand.
Yeah.
That's not going to be relevant until Gerry's turn.
I think if he has an untapped land... no, he's 1 short. I was going to say he could dismember the Squadron Hawk, activate the Colonnade, equip, attack, but he's 1 short of being able to do all of that. Actually, he might be 2 short. 5 for that. 1 short. Yeah, he's 1 short of being able to do all of that.
Activate.
You do activate, equip. If he had 1 more mana, activate, equip, and inside combat tap to cast Dismember.
What does he get? He's got 7 lands.
He's going to
there?
have 8.
Yeah, he's going to have 8. Right, okay.
Oh, actually, that does give
He
him
can
just
still-
barely enough.
I was going to say, because he taps 5 of it.
Yeah, if he
to
gets 8 mana,
activate.
he can totally get there with the 8th mana.
Right, because he has to. He actually taps the colonnade.
Taps the attacking
after declaring
colonnade,
it's attacking. Yeah, that's
He
what
goes
I
with the
thought.
Preordain, shuts off that line of play. He doesn't have many cards left in the deck. And then Gerry gets to draw 2 for that.
That's unbelievable. How do you need to preordain after? What did he? I just wonder about. Like, he just drew so many cards, and the first spell he casts is a preordain.
that can't be correct.
You
Oblivion
mean
Ring.
you didn't have what you needed in the 28 cards you drew?
Oblivion Ring on Oblivion Ring. I'm guessing Gideon is gonna very likely. It should just murder that phantasmal image. That would be the play I would make. Attack Gideon does not seem as exciting as murder your Sphinx.
Yeah.
He still has not laid a land, I don't
Did
believe.
he must have +2 to Gideon.
Wow.
That's not something I would have done either.
Okay.
Alright guys, see you guys. Wanna see you guys?
Seems like you want to take out that phantasmal
I mean,
image.
you could be in the position where he's thinking to himself, there's so few cards left in your library.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you draw cards. My plan here is to survive long enough to do this, but Gideon kills Gideon. Got a mana leak there, perhaps? There's a mana leak. There's a mana leak back. Gideon kills Gideon, and wait, Spell Pierce? Mental Misstep. Zing. And that's the game.
That's
Attack
a nice
for lethal.
counter. See, now that's a game that happened all on the stack, or at least that turn. I mean, obviously, it was more about protecting what was on the board, but yeah, I mean, you saw. I guess Trevor was being at 5 life, too concerned about going to 3 life.
Well, I think there's a tunnel vision thing that happens.
Yeah.
You
Did
know?
Gerry? I don't think Gerry had a colonnade.
He did not have a colonnade.
So yeah, I mean, if he had a colonnade, I could see Trevor's line of play there being right to, protect, to play Gideon +2 it because I'm at 5 life.
Right.
But killing the Sphinx with Gideon would have only put him at 3 because there was just Hawk and Faux Hawk on board.
From their sideboards, Gerry has Dispel as a possible card. Psychic Barrier, just counter a creature. Blue,
Lose a life.
they lose a life. Another Mental Misstep, which it was very powerful here, but it was only powerful because it stopped a Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce and Preordain are the only targets, so it's actually kind of questionable whether or not Mental Misstep does exactly what you need it to. I think it's still reasonable. I don't know that it's like super awesome. I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's weird because it feels like Spell Pierce is perfect to fight Gideon. So Trevor probably would want to leave the Spell Pierces, and then the Mental Missteps obviously come into play. I mean, like we just saw there.
I think that it's possible he might just cut some of that, though, for Dispel. Dispel does the same work, but it fights other cards that are important.
I agree, yeah. That makes sense. The only thing relevant there is Mental Misstep costs 2 life instead of 1 mana, or has the option anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gerry brought in Revoke Existence for Oblivion Rings and for Sword.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's only got 1, but that makes sense.
Trevor, for his part...
Do you think he brings in the Torpor Orb for Squadron Hawks?
No.
Doesn't seem that good, but it definitely seems like it would make those Squadron Hawks really bad. Wait,
Trevor brings in
Orb is,
Azure Mage.
Yeah, he does have the Azure Mage, yeah.
And I think he brings in... maybe he brings in Day of Judgment, maybe. But Azure Mage definitely comes in.
Yeah, for some reason with Torpor Orb, I for some reason thought that was I questioned whether or not it was just your opponent's or yours too, which it's kind of funny that Gerry has it in the deck when I think about the fact that he's playing Squadron Hawks, and I don't know. I wonder how you sideboard there. I mean, do you really...
Well, if you're becoming more of a control deck against a deck...
out the
like,
Squadron Hawks?
let's pretend you're playing against, for example, Birthing Pod, right? You bring in your Flash Freezes, your Revoke Existence, your Psychic Barrier, right? You maybe bring in Mental Misstep to hit Birds and Ponders and Preordains. And you just board out your Hawks because you're not playing Sword of Feast and Famine. And you're like...
And then you put in the Torpor Orb.
And you just become a control deck in a much more strong way.
Right. Got that. That makes sense. I like that logic. So, Looks like both players are drawing their opening hands. Gerry Thompson up a game versus Trevor Coulombe. Gerry playing Call Go, no blades, versus Trevor's more typical Call Blade list, post-banning Call Blade list, of course.
And I mean, Trevor's Call Blade deck is very Gerry Thompson-esque.
It is. It's very. It's like he looked at Gerry's article and built it that way.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it basically looks like a mix of the deck list that Gerry talked about and alluded to in his article, mixed with the deck that Gerry played at the Star City Games Invitational in Indianapolis.
Gerry is taking a mulligan here. Again, both players with the same sleeves. Hope they don't accidentally mix their decks up, because there's a lot of potential for them to not realize it for a long time when Gerry draws a Sword of Feast and Famine and goes, wait.
What the heck is this? Oblivion Ring is one of the key ways that could happen, too.
Okay.
We've got turn 2, go,
Yeah.
from both sides of the field here. And Gerry lays a Squadron Hawk. Trevor says A-OK, so we've got Squadron Hawk advantage for Gerry. The return from this, Trevor's best follow-up play is a Squadron Hawk of his own, there's one of the things, Phantasmal Image to create the Squadron Hawk effect. Jace Beleren would have been the other card he could have dropped into play that would have had an effect on the game right now.
Yeah, that's one of the key advantages, or one of those key plays and reasons that Gerry advocated Phantasmal Image was in the mirror. If they have a Hawk, you have a Hawk as well.
Wow.
So there's a
Jace Beleren and Spell Pierce. We have a mental misstep.
No, we don't, because Chase
Nope.
is already in the graveyard.
Fourth land. The Hawk and the Fake Hawk trade. And is that a Alt Art Hawk?
Yeah, he's got the alternate art FNM Hawks. And he gets the fourth, so he's got all 4 Squadron Hawks available in hand. Well, 3 in hand, 1 on the board. Gerry draws, plays Squadron Hawk.
There's a Hawk.
I believe he actually just drew that Squadron Hawk, but I could be wrong.
And he lays another Hawk. Hawk. Trevor lays a 5th land. Hawk. Hawk's trade. Says go. In comes a Hawk. Hawk's trade. Another Hawk. Gerry gets the 5th land. Celestial Colonnade joins play.
And another Hawk.
Hawks face off from each other.
Yeah, we had a Sphinx War last game. If this isn't a Hawk War, I don't know what one looks like.
Tectonic Edge from Gerry Thompson. Activates the Colonnade. A Dismember here would be pretty powerful from Trevor.
Didn't look like he had it, so 4 damage into the red zone and passes the turn. So Trevor now adds a 2nd Hawk to the board. Swings in with his 1st Hawk. Gerry looking like he's...
Contemplating not blocking.
Yeah.
Now, at a certain stage in the game, a Hawk trading with a Hawk is fine. And at another stage in the game, having a body just to get in the way of a sword can be a really big deal.
Right.
Colonnade attacks, Trevor blocks.
The cool thing is that,
Wow.
at least on Gerry's side, is that Gerry's getting rid of Trevor's Hawks to the degree where swords don't matter.
Wow.
Well, that-
Sun Titan can bring back the image, which is a Sun Titan, which is a Hawk.
Well, never mind what I was just saying. I was saying run him out of Hawks.
Now we need a day from Gerry, or Trevor's going to run away with this game. I don't think he has a day.
Yeah, I think we would have seen it, but then again, maybe he's just got another plan in mind here. I mean, it looks like O-ring, maybe. Yeah, I think we're gonna see an O-ring.
O-ring on the real Sun Titan. O-ring on the fake Sun Titan, which kills it. Tapped out.
O-ring your O-ring.
O-ring your O-ring. Back comes my Sun Titan. Back comes my Phantasmal image.
Oh
Back
my
comes the
gosh.
Squadron Hawk.
This is just the worst.
In for one. O-ring,
Now
your
it's-
O-ring.
You know, don't you love it when you're playing and somebody comes over and goes, "Who's winning?" Like,
Wait a second.
Well, I'm at 16 and he's at 19. Oh, so he's winning. Yeah, Gerry's winning right now.
Well, according to some measures, revoke existence on the Oblivion Ring that targets Gerry's Oblivion Ring.
Right.
Oblivion Ring comes back and it knocks out the Sun Titan,
Right, but there's
leaving only a fake Sun Titan in
right,
play.
which he needs to target, or else it's just going to attack, bringing back the other O-ring to take out the O-ring to get back the Sun Titan. It's
Oh, no, the other O-ring is removed from the game. Revoke existence removes from the game.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no worries.
I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking it was in the graveyard.
Jerry attacks
Still
for
seems
4
like a
in
good
the
idea.
air.
Still seems like a good idea to get rid of that Phantasmal image.
Oh, yeah. Now, if Gerry wins this game in the face of such overwhelming disadvantage, it's going to be a testament to play skill in this matchup.
Yeah. And
I mean, there's lots of other ways that play skill can come into the... Oh, O-ring. Back comes Sun Titan. Back comes Hawk or Land, depending. Hawk.
it's kind of unbelievable how many O-rings Trevor's had. I mean,
This
I guess
is-
it's just 2, or 3, right?
This is totally reminiscent of the blue-white matchups quite a while back. Wow. Azure Mage hits play. I don't even know about that play. I mean, it gives yet more outs in case Gerry draws, a day. Fetch a land. And now we're going to get the Crucible of Worlds style effect from Sun Titan.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what's next? 3 Eldrazi in play at the same time?
I know.
Oh, that was earlier. It's just looking grim.
Day?
Does he have the day here?
That's not
now?
a day.
He has a Gideon.
Attack Gideon, please. And a man like, sure, I'll pay.
And another mana leak, or no? It was him tapping the mana from the first mana leak. Okay.
So Gideon playing the game of Fog.
Yeah.
Super Fog, but still Fog.
Ah,
Gideon, Gideon, and Gerry scoops it up.
Game 2 ends exactly as Game 1 did, with the player who's supposed to attack Gideon just playing a Gideon and then swinging in for the win.
Yep.
So wow, that was just brutal. But I mean, again, it shows the power of Sun Titan with Phantasmal Image, something Gerry himself advocated in his article, yet is not playing. Like that, I really would love to ask Gerry what his logic is there.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, that seems so.
there's a question of slots, right? You have an economy of your deck. How many cards can you actually afford to put together in your deck that way? And he might have just felt like every other card was more valuable, and he couldn't afford to go to 61 cards. I mean, Gerry has played 61 card Codex before.
I'm just out of curiosity looking up his article because I feel like he made a case for playing Sun Titan over Consecrated Sphinx. I could be getting it mixed up with another article, but
I think you're correct. I think he did advocate for Sun Titan over Consecrated Sphinx. I think what he said was that it does the same thing when you've got Sun Titan and Phantasmal Image that a Consecrated Sphinx does, but it's more powerful. Because it affects the board, essentially.
yeah. So that's why I'm a little confused as to his choice of playing 2 Consecrated Sphinx and no Sun Titan. Costing a full mana. Okay, never mind. The main interaction playing Phantasmal Image is the one with Sun Titan. With a pair of images in the deck, Sun Titan became better than Consecrated Sphinx. Against blue-black control, Sphinx might just die, whereas a resolved Sun Titan provides multiple threats. So, and again, he mentions about, you know, he's talking about how good Phantasmal Image is, and talking about how it can't be equipped, which is one of the reasons he cuts the sword. I'm kind of wondering about the logic here, because if the logic is, I want to play Phantasmal Image because it's so good with Sun Titan, Phantasmal Image can't be equipped, so I'll cut my swords. What do? You're pulling the Sun Titan out of the equation, and now is Phantasmal Image as good? So it's interesting. Anyway.
Turn 1, land from Gerry and Preordain from Trevor, followed up by Squadron Hawk from Gerry.
Gets 2 Hawks. Trevor plays a Celestial Colonnade. And I believe just passed, but of course needs to cut Gerry's deck. And Gerry draws, attacks with a Hawk. Looks like he's going to add another Hawk to the board. Yes. Gets the last Hawk.
Now, meanwhile, Trevor's sitting back with only 1 mana open, and basically well behind here.
Trevor was on the play game 1, right? And game 2? I feel like
that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Gerry follows with a Preordain after the Squadron Hawk.
And a Spell Pierce for the Preordain from Trevor. So, Trevor now looks like he's...
Timely Reinforcements would be awesome. I don't think it's correct in this matchup necessarily.
Yeah, I don't even know that they would have brought
it would
in.
be awesome right now.
Well, it would both halves would happen here. Unless...
One of the funny things about certain cards is they're wrong for a matchup, but sometimes, man, you wish you had it in your hand.
Yeah. Well, there's a sword lying lonely on the battlefield.
Need somebody to pick it up.
Yeah. There's an Inkmoth Nexus there, but...
In they come. 2 Squadron Hawks, joined by a 3rd.
And Gerry has that 1 Hawk back to block if Trevor were to try to get that Inkmoth to pick up a sword, but not the play
Hawk
here.
number 1. Maybe worth fighting over if Gerry thinks it's the only one. And he says, go for it. Squadron Hawk, back to hand. Squadron Hawk, Squadron Hawk. One of the great things about this deck is its ability to refill after card advantage. Even if it doesn't have Jace the Mind Sculptor to turn it into a supercharged Ancestral,
yeah.
It's still good.
And Trevor leaving up the Spell Pierce mana yet again.
Gerry comes in for 3.
This is where Gerry could drop a Gideon, so Trevor having that Spell Pierce up.
Oof. There you go.
But Spell
Myria
Pierce doesn't
Angel?
hit a Myria Angel. Myria
And then
Angel,
a
Faux Hawk.
Faux Hawk. I love that. That's great. Day of Judgment, perhaps? Day.
There it is. Textless Day of
Day
Judgment.
and go. Gerry untaps. This is a great moment for a Sphinx if he has it. Land Sphinx would be devastating.
And
3 mana, no
not a Sphinx.
no land Sphinx.
Oblivion on your
O-ring.
sword, okay.
Spell Pierce. Gerry pays. This makes him tapped out. Trevor can do something here to capitalize. 4 mana, or is it 5? 3 mana, Jace Bellerin. Another land from Trevor. A Jace Bellerin on the table with, I don't believe, anything on Gerry's side. No Celestial Colonnade. to take care of it. This is one of those swinging points in a match. Gerry does not have very long before he has to deal with that, or it's over. Mana leak. Oh, boy. And right now, Trevor is fully in the driver's seat. Draw.
That Jace guy, I thought he was banned.
Jace Bellerin, just one of many cards that you will not be seeing after Innistrad is released. He rotates with the rest of them.
That makes me sad.
Squadron Hawk. Checks the yard. I don't think there are any Squadron Hawks in Trevor's yard. Maybe just one, in fact. 2 Squadron Hawks come down. Oh, there's one in Trevor's yard. 1 in his hand, 1 in his yard, 2 in play.
Now, what does Gerry do to recover here?
Gerry wants to lay a Jace Bellerin or an Oblivion Ring to stop that Jace Bellerin.
He's got a Day of Judgment. That doesn't really seem like that attractive of an option.
A Hawk, go. Trevor knocks it off. I almost think maybe he has another Jace.
He does. I saw it in his hand.
Devastation.
Dubs Jace.
You can see that Trevor has more cards in hand, more creatures
lands
in play,
more
more lands in play. He is ahead right now in a big way.
That Day of Judgment from Trevor was about the timeliest reinforcement that that he could have drawn.
There's a sword from Trevor.
And Gerry contemplating what he can do here. He's got a mana leak.
Mana leak doesn't do very much. It taps down Trevor a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's all it does.
That'll be enough, though, to keep him from equipping it and swinging in now.
Untap. We're going to see maybe another Oblivion Ring here.
We got a Day of Judgment that Gerry has.
Sphinx. There we go.
So.
6 mana for a Sphinx. This is the kind of card that can recover the game for Gerry. Gerry draws 2. We'll have to see if Trevor has a Phantasmal Image or if he has his own Sphinx. Trevor's thinking. I have a feeling he does not have either of those cards.
How bad is Jace Bellerin when your opponent has a Sphinx? It's funny. No wonder they didn't ban him.
I mean, I've had a Sphinx in play and had my opponent activate the Brainstorm knowing full well what it was going to do. They were just that desperate for something.
Yeah.
And a bounce wouldn't have done it.
There's
Phantasmal Image. Okay, that's what he needed to see. And now maybe an Oblivion Ring to follow up and really, what's the phrase? Give him the what for?
Show him what for?
Yeah, show him what for.
Let's look at each other's graveyards. Pause for station identification.
Yeah, that Sphinx, one of 2 in Gerry's deck, definitely important for Gerry in that moment. He does not have very much time left. And we got Poison coming in.
Which may look like even less time.
I think a Sphinx, not Sphinx, pardon me, yeah. Blocks, shrinks, risks a Dismember. Wow. I was going to say I thought a Hawk was going to block that one.
Yeah, I was surprised too because I thought, I was thinking it kind of telegraphs Dismember when you're, well, not necessarily, I mean, you want to get in with the poison, that's great too, but I would have thought a Hawk would have been a better blocker there.
Wow. I don't like that. You can't attack twice. You try to attack again. Doesn't work. Gerry untaps.
I also get a second combat phase, right? Because just having this sword in play, isn't that right?
Upkeep, I think he has an effect. Or is this after the draw?
It may have been after the draw.
I see a Day in his hand, so I don't...
Yeah, he tapped 4.
Did Trevor draw the 2?
He may have forgotten to draw. It's possible. I looked away.
I glanced down for a second, and Trevor's on the lower portion of the screen. I didn't get a chance to see. But, wow.
Day's pretty good here. I mean, he's open to Day right now because there's no... Trevor's tapped out, so...
There's the
Day
day.
of Judgment.
And a Jace. Nope, Oblivion Ring. Tapped out. Go, he says to Trevor. Trevor draws. A great opportunity here for him to drop a 6. There's a
And he
6.
has a 6.
Which one is it? Sun Titan brings back Phantasmal Image. Makes a Sun Titan. Brings back the Sphinx.
Oh my gosh. I can't figure out why Gerry took this out of his deck. I'm sorry, look what just happened.
And pardon me, that last one it gets is a Jace Bellerin. And right now, let's pretend that Gerry cast another Day of Judgment. He's still in... Oh, boy. I think it's over.
Yeah.
I actually think that that block that Gerry did with his Sphinx, when he had access to a bird, that was a huge turn right there.
Yeah, I don't know what his logic was there either.
We got an Oblivion Ring on Oblivion Ring. Brings back Sword of Feast and Famine.
Another point from Eye of Sauron on Twitter, how Trevor could have dismembered the Sphinx before damage and then not lost his Inkmoth Nexus.
Yep.
The Sphinx would have been an 0-1, right? And then
Yeah.
the Inkmoth Nexus would have just killed it and the Inkmoth would have stuck around.
And there's a Squadron Hawk.
It's amazing. 2 turns ago, the board was clear. And all it took was the Sun Titan to bring, just make all that happen, really. I
Yep.
mean, the Sun, it's just unbelievable. Apparently, Trevor just missed another Sphinx draw.
Into the Royal on Oblivion Ring. Brings back a Sword of Feast and Famine for Trevor. Gerry
Yeah.
says, that's it. That's all she wrote.
Unable to recover from all that. Now, again, I would love to talk to Gerry. I'm sure we'll get to talk to him at some point later on. We'll find out exactly what his logic is for cutting the Sun Titan out of the deck when